We don't go to Bramford anymore. Hello and welcome to a Rotted Review of the Day, and I'm finally able to do that. I released one video last week, and then I got a sore throat, and I fell ill, and the thought of trying to do that intro was just absolutely miserable, and I couldn't release anything else for a number of reasons, but I just didn't feel good. But I am back, and today I am reviewing the 2015 movie, The Blackcoat's Daughter. This was a phenomenal watch to me. This was recommended to me by Elliot Slade, and what a wild ride this was. This movie was a great example of illustrating the point of how a story is told being just as important, if not more important, than the content of the story itself. So this movie follows a number of characters, most notably a series of teenage girls that are students of the Bramford Preparatory School in New York State. And winter break is upon them. They have one last little Christmas hurrah where the parents come, do the pageant thing, and then they off to winter break. Only for two girls, that doesn't hold true. One of which tells her parents the wrong date because she has ulterior motives, which, that's not a spoiler. It kind of becomes pretty clear right from the get-go here. And another one whose parents just don't show up. And she had a bit of a premonition about that early on in the film. So she's kind of worried, there's no response and so forth, and then the movie really kind of kicks off from there. I really don't want to give any more information than that, just because this movie is worth experiencing fairly fresh. Anything beyond that, and I think I might be ruining the watch for folks. If I were to take just the bare elements of this movie, and if I were to just lay out for you what happened, this happened to blank to blank to blank, this is the event with this girl, and here's the timeline, done, it would be pretty short. Honestly, there's not a whole lot in terms of the main course of this, but the way that it's told and the way that it's presented and the way that it delivers the information to the audience is really what sells this. It doesn't just make it scary, it makes it captivating. And one of the best things about it, in my opinion, is the way that it doles out information to the audience. It's just in perfect measure. It's grounded enough to allow for a constant string of hypotheses to be rattling around in your head. This is a great mystery as well as a great horror film. And while we're trying to figure out what's going on and having the hypothesis, roll around and everything, it makes it elusive enough to keep those hypotheses jumping around, to keep them malleable, to say, oh, okay, well, it can't be that, but maybe it's this and this and this. And that's happening throughout the rest of the movie. At some point, movies such as this, where there is a lot of style, not necessarily over substance, but definitely a focus on style, it can get so wacky that you're basically like, well, it could be anything. Why bother even thinking about it? And that can really kind of, in my opinion, for me, ruin a watch. There's been several movies out there like that lately, and this one just keeps that balance perfectly. This was a well-choreographed dance between the director of Oz Perkins, who's the son of Anthony Perkins. Just a beautifully choreographed dance between the director and the audience as far as we're trying to figure out what's going on, and he's keeping us on our toes as far as what information to deliver to provide red herrings, subterfuge, and legitimate information. And I just love that element of this. So yeah, everything about this really worked for me, and I was flabbergasted at, when the end credits were rolling, I was just in love with this movie. This was a great recommendation. Thank you, Elliot. I'm very glad that I watched this one. I'm going to go ahead and throw up all the scores here. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. And as you can see, I thought this movie was just superb. This movie had balance of atmosphere and tone, so that it had a lot of style over substance moments without going overboard into just full-on wackiness, but at the same time, it also didn't go too far the other way and just be so simple and bland that it didn't wind up delivering any kind of emotional punch within the visual storytelling medium of cinema. And like I said, everything about this was extraordinarily well balanced. And that was one that I think that's the chief reason that I love this movie as much as I do. The acting was phenomenal through and through. There was the perfect level of, your typical teenage girl cattiness mixed with the trauma of what they were going through on various levels and various stages. And again, I don't want to give anything away, but every aspect of very complex emotional situations was sold extraordinarily well. It kept that creep factor up, and it kept the emotional devastation of the characters up well enough that I was involved. I was in the movie, and that's one of the best things that a horror film can do, in my opinion, is to draw me in to that extent. And this movie did that for me. So a grand total of 89 out of 100 points. I thought that The Blackcoat's Daughter was a great watch, and I would absolutely recommend it. I would say that it's a must watch. For any horror movie lover, I think if you have been put off by some of the A24 productions that have been put out in terms of like In Fabric, where I would say that that is absolutely style over substance, then I would recommend giving this one a watch because, again, I think it strikes that perfect balance. So that's about it. That's my review of 2015's The Blackcoat's Daughter. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And if you want to support me further, my Patreon and my merchandise storefront links are below. Remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.